Alrighty, we are live here on YouTube. Today, I wanted to quickly talk about creating your dream life and what that looks like. This is something that I've been practicing for so many years and I've been preaching. And every time someone comes to me and they're like, how do I do this thing that I've always wanted to do? In a sense, they're asking, how do I create the reality that I've always desired for myself? And I have a lot of videos here on YouTube about simple formulas that I use to help myself and formulas that I share with others as well in my newsletter. So you can check that out in the link down below. However, for the purposes of this video, I will be going through the exact blueprint to transform your life, the exact blueprint that you can begin taking steps on today and taking actions on today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, the first thing you want to do is take inventory of your life. And what do I mean by this? Taking inventory of your life is spending some time to sit down and write down everything that you have going on right now, whether it be your work, your children, your businesses, your hobbies, your friends. Write down everything. And then you want to create another list where you talk about what are the things that you feel most frustrated about, the things that you want to change immediately. And then you want to ask yourself questions like what in your life feels aligned, what doesn't, or what drains your energy, what excites you. You want to take inventory of everything that you have going on because it's very crucial in order for you to move on to the next steps. I like to call this brain dumping, where you just literally just put everything out on the table. And so that way you're also visually seeing it, but the act of writing it down on paper allows you to put some action towards it. It gives you the power of awareness. And that's so important when taking inventory of your life. You can't build something new on a weak foundation. You have to first declutter your life, and that starts with bringing awareness to the things that are causing the clutter in the first place. So, after you've done that, you want to go ahead and define your dream life. Get very specific. What does an ideal day look like for you? Where do you wake up? How do you spend your time? And then you want to go ahead and think bigger. Think bigger, like who do you need to become to live that life? What habits, what mindsets, and energy does that version of you need to have? And then you can start building things such as Pinterest boards, which have helped me greatly, something that I go back to on a daily basis, something that I can have a visual of the life that I am desiring. And slowly but surely, I start to see a lot of these things manifesting into my reality. I start to see a lot of the things that I've saved in my vision boards, on my Pinterest boards, or just on my, when I do this exercise, it starts to become my reality. And then, as you're defining your dream life, one thing that you can start doing is a scripting exercise. So, this looks like writing a page about your dream life as if you're already living it. This creates clarity and strengthens your belief around what you're going after. So, during the step of defining your dream life, you also want to feel as though you're already living it. What does that look like? And you can use tools to help you clarify that dream and clarify what a day in a life would look like as someone that you are looking to become. So, once you've taken inventory of your life and you've clearly defined your dream life and you know what that looks like, you know what it feels like, you then can move on to step 3, which is to create a plan and take action. This is the part that I think a lot of people get stuck on. They have everything written out, they know who they want to be, they know who they're becoming, but they don't know how to get there. And this is the part where it's going to require some external resources, whether you're using a resource like ChatGPT or whether you're using a resource like a coach, a mentor, or a friend who is doing exactly what you want to be doing. You want to ask them, what steps do I need to take to get to where you are? Or what steps do I need to take to get to where I want to go? So examples of this can be breaking down your goals into small actionable steps. For example, if you want financial freedom, you can start by learning new skills and saving a set amount of money per month. For me personally, this looked like getting a second job, or this looked like maybe cutting back on expenses and cutting back on certain things for a short period of time to give me the desired reality that I was looking for. So in this sense, financial freedom is essentially your action item would be to get a new job, or to budget better, or to revise my current budget, or to start saving more of my money, and cutting out certain expenses that are no longer necessary because they don't align with the lifestyle that I'm looking to go after. These actionable steps are great when you write them down, but they only take effect if you actually begin to do them. And so having the lists you can come back to on a regular basis to make sure that you are on track. For another example is if you want to start traveling, you can start reaching out to destinations or researching destinations and then creating a plan to go there, creating a budget to go there, and taking action step by step to get there. And these are very minor examples, but I do know that a lot of people have used this very technique for something so simple in their life, and they're able to see massive results. This also works for, larger goals as well and larger desires in life. If you want to move to a whole different city or a whole different country, I've personally used this method to do just that. I've used this method in purchasing my home. I've used this method when it came to getting the job or the career that I needed to help me begin saving towards my dream life. So every time I have a new goal or I have a new desire that comes up for me, I take action using this method, this exact method here. So step 4 is to align your habits with your future self. Now that you've created these action items, you have to start creating the habits that are going to allow you to achieve these action items. So your habits are essentially the daily choices that you wake up and you make every single day. You wake up tomorrow and you decide to meditate, you decide to journal, you decide to make the calls to the right people, you decide to put yourself out there on social media, you decide to go after a client that you've been, prospecting for a really long time. These habits create the reality that you desire. So you have to identify what those habits are. If it's going to the gym every rising, or if it's meditation, as I mentioned, or journaling, whatever that case is, you want to make sure you start implementing these habits, because without them, the action items become really difficult to complete, and you have to essentially put yourself in a mindset to be disciplined when it comes to completing the action steps that you wrote out in step 3. So some examples of habits that you can begin to implement are waking up early and creating a morning routine, meditating, journaling, or visualizing daily. So this is really great when we go back to a Pinterest board, for example, if that's something that you use for visualization, or if you wanted to do scripting, that could be a part of your journaling practice. Surrounding yourself with people who elevate you is another very, very important step in changing the life that you want. For example, you are truly the sum of your 5 closest friends. So you want to take inventory in that first step of who are you hanging out with, who's adding value to your life, or who's taking it from you. And then from there, you can start to mold and shape your socializing circle moving forward, because this is a crucial part of aligning yourself with your future self. Prioritizing your health and nutrition. This is so important, because I think a lot of the times people simply, through a change of diet, can start to see more clarity in the actions that they're taking. They'll make better choices, and then those better choices lead to habits, and those habits lead to achieving the desired reality that you want. So those are just some examples. There's so many more, but I'll leave it at that. And moving on to step 5 is to address and release blockages. This part is going to be crucial, because as you're taking action, you sometimes recognize that there's something in the way. There's something, whether it's your confidence, whether it's a past trauma, whether it's a belief that you might have had, or a programming that we're subject to, that it's causing you to hesitate on taking these actions. You want to address those blockages. Some common ones being false beliefs about money, success, love, and worthiness, childhood or past traumas, as I mentioned, creating subconscious fears for us. And then another one being fear of failure or fear of judgment. We have to move through these blockages, because these are essentially what is getting in the way of us actually making the action items, and then taking the action, and then recognizing the results as they come towards us. Some ways to release blockages, I talk about this extensively on my channel as well, is shadow work and journaling, therapy or self-healing practices, energetic cleansing, breathwork, movement, and sound healing. Those are very, very crucial, and they've all helped me personally on my own healing journey. And so as you are going through and creating your dream life, I think a lot of people sometimes forget the mindfulness aspect of this. We can't really move forward if there is some sort of invisible block that we have failed to recognize or that we haven't become aware of. And one thing, if you are not able to bring awareness to what these blockages might be, it's okay to, go after external help and see if someone can help you realign there. And what I mean by this is, examples can be just traditional therapy, Reiki sessions, or regression therapy. Any form or modality that's going to help bring that awareness to the surface for you would be super beneficial. And lastly, those were all 5 steps. So we'll do a quick recap. So step 1 is taking inventory of your life. Step 2 is defining your dream life, getting very, very clear about what it is that you want and who you are becoming, and then creating a plan and taking action. One of my favorite YouTubers here says that, conscious thought times action equals manifestation. And I think you all know who I'm talking about, but he's absolutely right. I applied those exact steps in my life, and I created a formula that worked best for me, and I'm passing it along to you so that you can take what sounds the best to you, and you take the best of that and you create your own routine and your own formula. And then you'll be able to teach others on how to do the exact same using your method, and then they will continue to create their own. Step 4, align your habits with your future self. And then step 5, address and release blockages. And just to recap some tools that have helped me through this journey, I'm, forever evolving. We are constantly on this journey of healing. We're constantly on this journey of self-discovery. So just know that although I may not be exactly where I want to be yet, I know I'm well on the way to being there. And honestly, my life compared to a year ago or 2 years ago is completely different because I've applied these practices. But the first being journaling and scripting. So write in the future. So write your future in present tense. Write as if you are currently living the life that you want to be living. So this is scripting, for example. And when you are doing your daily journaling, you want to also first release any subconscious thoughts that might have come through the surface while you were sleeping, or first thing when you rise in the morning, any thoughts that are constantly on loop. You want to go ahead and write those down. And then as a part of that exercise at the end, you can then write your future in present tense. Creating a rising routine has helped me immensely because it helps me set the grounding and my intentions for the day. And so by doing this, I have been able to take take action on many things that I had on my list in order for me to create my desired reality. And as a result of that, it just now is a habit of mine to cross things off my list and to take action. So my rising routine is very crucial in that because I have to set the tone for my day and start with a grounding practice. Visualization and meditation, super, super important. Actually, the first thing in my rising routine is my meditation. And there's just so many benefits to this. You can watch videos on YouTube for hours about the power of meditation and visualization. Releasing blockages, so shadow work, therapy, facing your fears head on. And then fasting for clarity. This is something that I do quite often, but when we fast, we sometimes we get to see some of these thoughts a little more clearly because we're not so focused on eating, or our body isn't focused on breaking down our food. So when you're fasting for clarity or fasting for a reset or a detox, whatever you're doing is going to be super beneficial in helping you energetically raise your vibrations to become more aligned with your desired life. So, all that being said, creating your dream life isn't about wishing, it's about choosing. You wake up every day and you get to choose what you do. You get to make choices, and these choices are what creates our habits. So choosing what stays, what goes, and what you become is completely up to you. Every action you take is shaping your future. And so I want you to remember this when going through and taking these steps, step by step, and doing the action and releasing the blockages and also taking note of your progress. You want to address the wins along the way. So if you would like more resources on exactly how you can begin to create your desired reality, I have a newsletter linked down below with tons of resources, and I will also be adding a few more on a weekly basis. So feel free to subscribe to that and stay tuned for more. I really, truly appreciate everyone who has been engaging and interacting. This has been a pleasure of mine, a passion of mine as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you've already started this journey, please share your experience as well for others who are looking to get started. Thank you.